Have you ever had someone throw a golden nugget of wisdom at you and it go right over your head? Thank you, Madam Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and most distinguished guests. It happened to me, but you can't blame me. I couldn't hear it. We live in a world where there's a lot of white noise. There's all this noise that goes around. We have all these different distractions that are keeping us from our goals that we're searching for in life. They keep us from doing that. There's some numbers about our levels of retention that I want to talk about. We remember 10% of what we hear on a daily basis. 10%. If you don't believe me, think of a really funny story that you heard about a month ago and repeat it to me word for word. You can't do it, all right? We remember all these little pieces and bits and pieces. There's reasons in our personality for why we even remember those bits and pieces. Advertisers and newsmakers are always trying to key in on that 10%. Think about it. They have a process. It's called throw everything against the wall and see what sticks. You look at early morning news. You look at SportsCenter. There is a picture on the screen. There is a crawl on the bottom. There's another image on the side. We're being inundated with thoughts because they were trying to burrow into that 10% that we actually remember. But there's a higher level of retention. I have a 16-year-old daughter. She's in high school. And they do things differently in school than we did when I was a student. When I was in school, we used to have to memorize things. So we wanted to memorize maybe the preamble to the Constitution. And the way we would memorize it would be to write it down over and over and over again. We remember 70% of what we write. For some reason, if it goes through our brains and out of our fingers and onto a piece of paper, we remember 70% of what we write. But what I'm searching for is the highest level of retention. We remember 95% of what we teach. When we find those teachable moments that we can share with our loved ones, that we can share with our family, that we can share with our friends, that's what truly allows us to really have things that are ingrained in our minds. And so what we have to do is find the things that we can teach that really help us the most. I'll tell you, I had a really, really bad relationship with time. Time is the only account that we can only take withdrawals from. We can't make any more deposits. All we have is all the time that we have. And so I spent my entire life stressing about it, stressing about time, not having enough time, always being late, always being in these different places. About 6 years ago, I sat down with my father, and we sat down over breakfast, and he looked at me, and he could tell how stressed out I was. And my father said something to me that day that changed my life, and I didn't have any idea about it. He told me, Oginga, as long as you utilize all the time that you have, in the end, it will be all the time that you needed. I looked at him. That nugget of wisdom went right over my head. I had no idea what he was talking about there. But life has a way of being able to make you stand up and pay attention. About a year after that, on April 10th, 2007, my father passed away. He became an angel. About 6 months after that, I was going through something that I normally would talk to my dad about. Without even thinking, I picked up my cell phone and I dialed the speed dial for his number, and I waited for him to answer. He never answered. It was at that moment that that nugget hit me square in the head. Life is short. Time is precious. Time is our best commodity. It's our greatest commodity that we have. I sat down immediately and I wrote my dad a letter. I said, Dad, I finally understand what you were trying to tell me. I will not waste any more time with procrastination. procrastination and regrets. I will use all of the time that I have, knowing in the end, it will be all the time that I needed. That was my 70% moment. But now, Toastmasters, you get to help me. You get to give me my 95% moment. If you will allow me to teach you what my Father taught me, this is going to ingrain this even further in me. Heed my Father's advice. Use the time that you have, and then all the time that you need, you'll have all the time that you needed. Use that time. Many of you have goals that are in the back of your mind right now that you haven't worked on. Start today. Take a step toward that goal, and that will bring fulfillment to you. And you will start to have that moment and be able to have it. My friends, now you've heard me. If it speaks to you, write it down. But if you want to keep it forever, you've got to teach it. Now, contest, Joe.